Hey everybody, how are you doing? I hope you all having a good day. And so far my day is great. There's no wind here in southern Idaho, and that's always a plus. So thought it'd be a good day to do a short little review. I'll try to make it short on this 2021 Ranger. A lot of videos out there, and I don't want to do a bunch of repeat stuff, so I'll try not to do too much of that. But there's not too many videos of owners, and it seems like there's some important stuff they leave out that I think they should put in there. So I'm going to try to touch on some of that stuff. So first of all, I bought this from Lithia in Boise, Idaho. I bought it, the salesman was Muki, I believe it's M-U-K-I. Pretty good guy. He didn't irritate me or make me mad like a lot of salesmen do. I think that's one of the biggest problems people have with dealerships is pushy salesmen and salesmen that lie to them and just aggravate them. So I didn't get that. Pretty good experience. And they gave me a pretty good deal. I mean, I don't know. The Tremor package is pretty expensive. It retails MSRP is over $46,000, which is really high, stupidly high. But I mean, all trucks are stupidly high. I mean, a piece of wood right now, what plywood is tripled in price. Things are just getting ridiculous. So I guess that's the new thing currently. Hopefully people's pay wages go up to accommodate all these high prices on stuff. But anyway, with the truck market and there not being many, I felt I got a pretty good price out of it. And the main reason I was able to get some money knocked off was because I had a trade. We had a Toyota Sienna that we were going to sell. I actually had a guy interested in it, but they offered me over $3,000. I mean, it close to $4,000. I mean, we got like over $4,000 rebate. I mean, we got some money off this truck, and most of that was because of the trade. So we decided to trade the car in. So they gave us, see, we got this truck for like $41,200 is what we paid. $41,000 is what we paid for this truck. So I thought it was pretty good. It was about $3,000 more than the Lariat I was originally wanting, but there wasn't really any around. The couple Lariats that were around were a color I didn't want, like red. I don't like red, so there was a couple red ones, and then there was a couple of them that just didn't have all the options. They were Lariats, but they didn't have like the adaptive cruise control and some stuff. So anyway, this dealer had 8 at the time, so I drove up there to at least look at them, drive them, see what I think, and then maybe I would custom order one. Well, they happened to have 2 of these Tremors in, and after we did some driving and thinking, and we were there for a little bit, we realized that they were going to give us what we thought was a pretty fair deal, a pretty good deal, especially being on a Tremor that's pretty new. And I mean, some people are waiting in line for these trucks that have already paid for them. So to be able to get a discount at all on them, I thought was pretty good. And if it was just a couple $1,000s, I probably wouldn't have done it. But over $4,000, it was pretty good. So they got me a pretty good deal on it. Pretty straightforward to deal with. So anyway, we jumped the extra $3,000 roughly and just bought the Tremor because it did have everything I wanted plus a couple things. So a couple things to note here if you're looking at these. Your main 2 issues that will be affected with the Tremor is ride quality. This truck still rides great, is comfortable, rides better than a lot of cars I've been in, but the ride isn't quite as good, a little bit stiffer than a regular Lariat truck. The Lariat truck that we drove next to this truck did have the FX4 package, so I believe it's some better suspension, but still it rode a little better than this. And I'm pretty much tired. I think pretty much this does have a stiffer tire. It's a C rating tire on it, and I think that's where the ride's coming from. The other thing is fuel mileage. Look at the window sticker, because the fuel mileage drops on the Tremor package. And again, I think that's tires. If you just, if you're like me and are thinking about putting another set of tires on it, you having 2 sets, get a road tire on it, I think you'll get a better ride, and I think you can get your mileage back, more comparable to the other Rangers. So while I'm on tires, let me just point out these things are terrible with rocks. That is probably the biggest reason. That is the biggest reason of me thinking to go with a road tire, because I got a little bit of gravel road. I live on a gravel road, and I'm constantly getting these stinking rocks in these tires, and then you get on the highway and they fling out everywhere. A bunch of, you hear them hitting everywhere. So they're terrible. I do not like them for that. Seems to be a worse issue than with other tires. But anyway, if I get a road tire that I can use most of the time, I think that'll fix that. So you can fix your ride if you're worried about it. You can fix your mileage if that bothers you. Just probably change the tires, and I think that'll solve it. Suspension, as most of you will learn, box shocks. These do have the reservoir on it. The fronts do not. All right, and they are not adjustable. Okay, they are not adjustable. This measured on level concrete, the front does sit 2.5 inches, roughly 2.5 inches lower. So just like all trucks, the back end sits up in the air. And being an off-road Tremor package, it seems like they would have done a better job at leveling the truck. But I suppose, they don't want the back to sag when you hook weight up to it. So I don't know. You give and take there, I guess. But I think most people buying the Tremor probably aren't towing much with it, and they would probably prefer it to be level, or at least closer to level. And a lot of guys are probably just going to put a puck system on it or a spacer. I don't like doing those. In my experiences, every one that I've had problems with. I've had them professionally installed by companies, and I've had issues with every one of them. Ride quality, handling. My last 3500 Ram truck, I did a leveling kit on, which was like 2 inches, a little less than 2 inches, I think. It developed a death wobble like immediately after doing that. So I've just had problems, and I don't want to do that. So for me to change that, to get a leveling kit, it's going to be, more involved to do it the right way. But anyway, so there is a rake. People think that the Tremor is more leveled, and I know it's not. It's the same. So I guess there's not much really to look at that you can't see yourself and look at 100 other videos. Like, I don't like this. This comes on a Tremor. This red just does not match. I do not like them. I'll be taking them off and powder coat them, because it is a separate piece, so they do pop out. So I'll be changing that. I'm definitely going to do some clear bra work to protect the front end. I got a guy in Twin Falls, Idaho from Anything Auto that does really good tent work, window tinting and clear bra work. He's already done a Honda Civic for us and did a lot of stuff. So we'll have the part of the hood done, the lights, the bumper, the grill, the back of the mirrors, and probably part of the front of the fender here. And I'm going to try to do some stuff along the bottom and maybe in the back a little bit to protect it some. It's an expensive truck. It looks good, and I want it to stay that way. So for me, clear bra is a major, pretty big upgrade, and definitely on my list to do as soon as he can do it. Again, window tinting will be another thing. I like the way it looks, and I like how it drastically cools the cab down. When it's parked in 90-degree weather and the sun's out, window tinting really cools down the inside of a cab. It makes a big difference, and it keeps your interior from getting sun damaged, and so I think that's very important as well. The only drawback is at night sometimes they're hard to see out of a little bit, but not really a problem for me. And like I said, I like the way it looks, and I like the protection that it adds to the interior. So I'll be doing both those things hopefully soon when he can fit me in. And other than that, I mean, this truck did not come with rhino lining. Did not come with a dampener. Not a big deal to me. I've had several trucks without dampener, and it doesn't bother me. It's nice. I do kind of like it. I have it on my 17 Ram, but not a big deal. But at the price point of this truck, being a loaded up truck, it should have come with it. The other thing I didn't know till later on is that you can put these hooks, like you can get another one of these hooks on the side of the bed, which is kind of cool. It gives you some more places to tie stuff down, but they didn't come with it. And I think on especially the price point on these loaded up models, they should come with those hooks. So if you're buying one of these trucks, surely you can get that thrown in a deal, and that won't bankrupt the dealer for sure. The other thing, big problem. Now you see, this is got a tow package, 7-way plug, and guess what? No brake controller. Stupid. Again, at the price point, this should come with a brake controller. A lot of your trucks are coming with integrated brake controllers, and Ford dropped the ball on that. You know, it kind of seems like sometimes manufacturers have an attitude of, well, let's leave some of these little details out, and we'll get the consumer to buy that after the fact. So that's just another way that these companies can get more money out of us, and that kind of pisses me off, because I feel that's the attitude they have. You know, this is a pickup. There's probably a lot of people that are going to want a brake controller on it, and so we can get that extra money out of them. It's $339 MSRP. There is a Ford dealer out of New York that's got some really good prices. They're like 20-30% off MSRP on parts. They're big supporters in some forums, but F-150 parts, I mean, a lot of stuff they have for the Ranger is discounted quite a bit from other places I found. So a brake controller through them, and with the promo code you can get from them, it's free shipping. The brake controller is $275, $276, something like that. So anyway, that's about the cost for a brake controller. Now, to install it, they quoted me like $300 or $400, so it was almost $800 for the controller and the install at the dealer I bought the truck from, and that was with no discount. That's full retail. So probably you worked with them, which I plan on doing that. I'm hoping to get things a little cheaper. So anyway, the other issue with the controller is when you install it, it's not easy. You have got to, for some reason, tap into a wire or two that's up in this brake light. So you got to take this liner down and all this plastic and run the wire up front. I think there's some wires up front, but obviously they're not all there, and it's kind of a hassle to do the install, and that's why the dealer wants so much for it, is really because of that. It's kind of a stupid thing. Like I said, Ford should have just had that in there. So keep note of that. Keep note. So I got a couple blemishes to keep note of. Let's see, this seal right here does not stay in. And that kind of aggravates me. And then if we come over to this side, see, it's fine there. But this side, then I've got this one that bubbles out. I don't like that. That's kind of an irritation. So you may check that out. And the other thing I've noticed is there is some kind of a blemish right here, like a little dent, I don't know. It wasn't hit by service department or the delivery service, the delivery truck. I mean, it's clearly a defect. And if you can see it, I mean, it just doesn't sit flush. It sticks out. And now that I've seen that, it drives me crazy. So when you're looking at these trucks, take note of some of the details like that. I'm hoping a dealer is going to try to do something with me, because it just shouldn't be that way on a $40,000 truck. So see, that doesn't do it. So a couple blemishes there. But yeah, other than that, the truck is comfortable. It rides good. It's fun to drive. It's easy to steer. It's got a good seating position. Both me and the wife really are enjoying the truck thus far. Now we've only got like 500 miles on it, a little less actually, but so far we really like the truck. It's fun to drive. I'm currently getting about 20 miles per gallon with it, according to the LIO meter, which the last tank I was on was right on. So real accurate. So I believe I'm getting pretty close to that 20. So pretty good mileage. Like I said, it's quiet, it's comfortable. Nice little truck. But take note of the brake controller, the bed hooks, the dampener, some of these seals around the windows, a little issue on the door. Take note of that. Take note your fuel mileage is going to be different on the Tremor package, and a little bit of a ride quality difference on the Tremor. Take note of that. Other than that, and a couple things I've mentioned up front, the truck's great, but there is one thing that I absolutely hate about this truck. Let me show you that. It's terrible. That is this dumb gauge cluster. I hate this gauge cluster. They've had it around other vehicles, and I've never liked it in any of them. This system over here is about worthless. Maybe people find a use for that. There are some things you can do. I've just never used it. I've never really found the need to use it. It's not helpful to me. I don't really see the need for it. You know, the one thing about that side is if you put it in gear, okay, and you push either the positive or the plus, it don't matter, then you get your you know, your transmission gears pop up, so you can see what gear you're in, and that's cool. I like to be able to see that, so that's cool. But they could have put that somewhere else. All right, so here's a tach. You got your big old speedometer, then you got a little dinky digital tach, and I do not like that. If you look at the XL and XLT models, they come with a different gauge cluster where it's normal. You got the big speedometer on one side and the big tachometer on the other side, and that's how I prefer it. Then you got some stuff in the middle you can do different things with. But yeah, this is terrible. And if I like to kind of watch my fuel mileage. I like to be able to see kind of what I'm doing. So the only way to do that, because I can't set it up and see it any other way but going through and selecting there. Well, then if you've noticed, I lose my temperature gauge. I can't monitor my temperature, and I like to be able to monitor that. You know, generally your gauges in factory stuff isn't real accurate by the time the gauge shows there's a problem. Sometimes you've already got a problem and it's too late, but I still like to be able to monitor stuff to get an idea of what's going on. And I gotta switch back and forth, you know, if I want to do that. So back over here, there's just no way to set it up good. You just can't monitor very many things on this all at the same time. You got to change different settings, and the only things you can't monitor oil pressure. You can't monitor anything with this gauge cluster except for your tachometer and your engine coolant temp. So that's aggravating. You know, I like to be able to monitor stuff. I guess I kind of get the impression that Ford thinks we're stupid and none of us know how to monitor stuff, and that we're not important enough to be able to monitor. And that aggravates me. Give me a gauge cluster that monitors. I want to monitor what the vehicle is doing and what the engine's doing. And that should be standard across all vehicles, all manufacturers, especially an engine that's turboed. You know, my 17 Ram over there, that's a Cummins, but awesome gauge cluster. I love the gauge cluster on that because I can pretty much set it up so I can see everything: tranny temp, engine oil pressure, engine coolant temp, oil temp, your tach, your speed, your turbo boost, your instant fuel economy, your average fuel economy. There's several things that I can look at without having to change the screen and go through different settings. And that's awesome. I want to be able to monitor a whole bunch of stuff and see it all in one setting. And I can do that pretty good on the Ram. But this you can't, and a lot of manufacturers are that way. But this being a truck, it being a high dollar truck and having a turbo, Ford should have done better about a gauge cluster and having more information on things you can monitor. So anyway, that's the biggest thing with trucks that I do not like. And I don't know what I'm gonna do about it. Probably be too expensive to go with the other gauge cluster, and I'll probably lose some function. So yeah, it is what it is, and I'm sure since I've bought a new 21, I'm sure in 2022 they'll change that. So, but you know, that's how things go. Anyway, I guess there's not really much else to say. I mean, this truck has electric start, you know, power folding mirrors, fog lights, the better HID LED headlights, which should be standard. You know, I mean, the thing is, we're all about safety these days. You know, safety this, safety that. I mean, you can't, in some states, you can't walk around and go into some cities without wearing a stupid mask. Like, everybody's afraid of getting sick and dying. And vehicles are coming out with adaptive cruise and lane keep and assist and all this stuff, which, you know, is cool. I like some of the safety stuff. I like the adaptive cruise control a lot. But let's not cheap out on headlights. I mean, the headlights should be standard on all trims to provide better lighting so people can see better. And then the brake controller, that's the other thing. Again, we're talking about safety here, and this truck is rated at 7,500 pounds to tow. And yeah, it can tow that, but can it stop? No, not well. I mean, that's another safety issue is being able to stop a truck. And F-150s have got that problem too. They can tow, but they don't stop well. And the Ranger is the problem. Now, I think most of the F-150s come with integrated brake controller. This does not. So, you know, you want to add safety stuff, but then you leave out a pretty important part, the brake controller, for guys that, you know, want to pull some weight. So anyway, I guess I kind of stated my aggravations there. Other than that, truck's great. You know, there are some complaints with storage. As you can see, there's not much storage here. This is pretty small. Doors have a little bit of storage, but not much. So, you know, the jockey box is pretty big. Nothing there. So yeah, storage is limited, and especially because you have this handbrake, emergency brake here, which I love. I like this manual handbrake here, and I also liked Toyota's design where they had it here. That they're just fun, kind of, if you want to screw around, and I don't know. I just liked them better. But the downside is you lose some storage, cup holders, and pockets and different things. The other cool thing that I really liked about this truck, as most people will probably know, is the rear locker. The rear locker really makes this a cool truck. And that's one of the things that makes the Toyota Tacoma so cool, is as far as off-road, is you can lock that rear, and that gives you an extra tire that's spinning. Even on a two-wheel drive truck, that can really save a guy from, sometimes you can just be in the dumbest little spot and get stuck in there. Well, with a locker, you can probably get out of most of that stuff. And having a four-wheel drive, that gives you 3 tires that are always turning. You can about go anywhere. So I love the locker. I think Ford has done a smart move by giving that option to most of their trucks, and that's one reason I like this truck. Yeah, just that locker. The auto start is another stupid feature that I don't like. Just about the time you stop and you go to take off, the engine dies. But at least they give you a switch that you can turn that off if you remember to do it. It resets every time you turn your truck off, but when you turn your truck back on, just push it and then it won't do that to you. So anyway, yeah, pretty cool little truck. I do like the Tacomas, and I had considered one of them, but the Tacomas are more expensive, no rebates, and their ride's not as good. They're just not as nice to drive, and don't have as many accommodations inside as a Ranger. So I think they're probably going to be more dependable, and generally on a Toyota you don't have to do much to it. So there's probably more things that are going to go wrong with this, but hopefully it lasts as long as the older Rangers, and it'll be a good truck. I guess the real only concern I have is this little 2.3 4-cylinder, which surprisingly is a pretty peppy little motor. It's pretty good. Not that I don't want more. You know, I tune about every one of my diesels, and there are a lot of tuning options for this, and I will be doing probably the Ford one, because Ford Performance offers a tuning available that does not void your factory warranty, and it's about 45 horsepower increase and 60 foot-pounds of torque. So a pretty good little jump, and tax your warranty. So I'll probably do that. But anyway, the little 4-cylinder is pretty good, but what bothers me is it is a direct injection only direct injection has a tendency to not clean off the exhaust valves, and they get built up with buildup, and then can give you issues there. Not just Ford, but a lot of different ones. Honda is doing it. We got a Honda Civic that's got a turbo in it, and it's the same thing. And I think potentially it's going to be a problem. You know, people do have a lot of issues with different manufacturers with just direct injection. That's why if you look at Toyota and a couple of the other EcoBoost motors, they are both direct injection and multi-port. So that's a much better system in my opinion, or just do multi-port. But I guess there's some benefits to direct injection, and I understand I guess why they do it, but there potentially is some issues with direct injection only, and unfortunately this EcoBoost does have just direct injection. So do a little research on that. I may go 200,000 or 300,000 miles with no problems, and then, you know, I may have a problem with that direct injection. I don't know yet. There's a little bit of talk on the forums about fuel mixing with oil. I think it's probably coming from the injectors. I don't understand it a whole lot, and I'm just hoping I don't have that problem, but I have read quite a few different people through the internet that have had that problem. So take note of that. But anyway, other than that, so far I'm loving the truck. Wife likes it. It's comfortable. We'll see how it does. So hope this is beneficial to you, and have a good day.